All right, shalom, salama, thiyemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. This morning, I'm here to address a few things. So, as I'm addressing a few things, I'm going to use this platform of Covenant Awakenings to address a lot of the issues that we have in our community and what is the reality of what we're dealing with within our community. But it also shows that as we're dealing with these realities in our community, it actually shows the straight up miracles that the Most High is doing for us because of the hearts of our people. Let's just face it. We're going through a Job moment. Excuse me, not Job. A Gideon, Jerub Baal, a Gideon moment, where you have a sifting of people that had to happen. And that sifting could only happen because what the Most High does is he makes sure that no one gets his glory. And I recognize that too. I always have to be aware and cognizant of how I'm speaking. Do I speak from the flesh? Is my victory is that through the flesh? Is that through Yahuwah? Father Yah, help me. I play the blood of Yahusha over me so I can discern, and because we deal with a people that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what's even presented, man, there are people that even hate the fact that the container got there. And I'm going to tell you why, because now you're seeing a response into the community. Because what is happening is it's quite simple. And even Jacoba went over this. That's hilarious before, right there in that show. And we saw that spring on up. You see agency happening. That is agency at its finest. Agency doesn't bring people together. Agency tears people apart. It brings division. Doesn't bring cooperation or collaboration. It brings hostilities. I tell you, this is why with a lot of the stuff and these opportunities that have opened up, my biggest concern is sharing this with the community because of really just a lot of the rogue actors that we have. And those actors are not actors. The actors are the elements of white supremacy at its finest. The funniest thing was, as this individual that was on Jacoba's show last night, we don't need to go into any names. But he said that he was a lobbyist in Washington. He said that he had 3 wives. And honestly, I have to laugh because when you're dealing with white supremacy, you're dealing with people that will make outrageous claims. You want to know why they make outrageous claims? It's simply this: it's a probing tactic, it's a psychological operation. I was listening to that individual the whole time, but I didn't want to see anything. You know what I was doing? I was actually grabbing notes of how they're utilizing this new deception and psychological operation campaign. I don't just emotionally involve myself in things. I actually step back. I step back and then my ears come on, and my automatic response when people say, "Well, how come you didn't respond? How come you're not saying anything?" I don't. I listen. And I listen because I'm listening for the spiritual intent. Everybody was trying to counsel. You're not going to counsel somebody who's not there to be counseled. What you're doing is you're creating the space of argument that's then allowing for him to probe other folks within that community of over what, 1,000 people watching, some for righteous purposes, some for nefarious purposes. But all the same, what that is they're getting data. How do you respond? How do they get mad? What's the next tactic? That's it. You're in a live stream show. They don't know how we operate over at Q2UA. They don't know how we operate over at NeoDiplomacy. They don't know all that. Because why? Because we don't give them that space. And when they're not able to get that space to operate and create the dissension, all they can do is just stay here in the YouTube spheres and the YouTube spaces. Because what you're starting to see, here's how the enemy operates. The enemy was just showing you the game plan of this, I don't know, next situation, next era. The stains of sorts that we're all going to carry with us into our post captivity. And that is the confusion that is going to be within our people, especially our children. And he really pointed that out. See, you have to understand the enemy does not play fair because there's going to be wheat and tares even amongst our own family. It hurts me because I know I will have to deal with that even amongst my own family. I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm 3 for 4. But now you're dealing with parents or a parent that's wholly team white supremacy or a parent that's awakened or awakened without their choice. And now you're in a season where people are awakened without their choice. We see it. We're witnessing it. I was watching something on YouTube the other day. One of the was an African comment, excuse me, African commentator, and she was talking about the Latinos and everything else. And if you don't understand, Latinos are it's a strange mix. It's a strange bag. And some Latinos actually want to understand their culture, especially as they identify with Israelites and knowing who they were before, pre the transatlantic slavery. And some are literally just, they're down for team white supremacy at all costs because Spain was the original team white supremacist, i.e., auto de fe, i.e., Spanish Inquisition. I see that all the time here in Florida. I see that even in my classrooms. I see these kids blacker than me, darker than me, white, Hispanic. And I laugh. And I said, no, what they're trying to do is they're trying to prime. Look, white supremacy knows it's done. But what white supremacy is trying to do is that it's trying to, exactly, Brother Garth, it's trying to have an amalgamation of being able to have the virus survive. The virus may not show up in a generation or two, it has to hide. And it will hide because you will see that hiding amongst our people. But then give it about 2 or 3 generations. No, we don't talk like that. No, we don't move like that. Well, don't you know? Well, we had a lot better, and that's where they will have that. Why do you think when we come back and we rebuild the land, and we're now living in a land without walls? How do you think a third of us get swept away when they're able to reconstitute themselves after that 1,000 years? Because that is the basis. That's the foundation. We had it a lot better when we were over in America and, the world was a lot better. What do you think they're going to say? What they're doing is they're building the baseline of what that next post Masonic thought process will be. Because why? Because they know that they are going to be deprecated. Basically, they're going to be diminished. They know they're going to be destroyed, but they want to have a remnant. They want to keep that remnant amongst our people. Well, you need to be marrying him and not, or her, because we want to keep things light and bright, and we want to let people know our bloodline. We want to have that fair skin, that less kink hair. The longer we can keep it in our bloodline, the longer we know that we're better. You all don't believe me? Go to Egypt. Go to Cairo. Go to Alexandria. Egypt is literally like 90% black. But all they show you on Egypt is all of those folks that are the most fair skinned that they can, with the curls. It's not as kinky. They've been able to do that for well over 2,000 years, even after Islam. Isn't that crazy? So you don't think that they know how to endure? They want to make sure that they have their Hellenic roots and orders established. What do you think is happening right now? That's the game right now. Hellenic roots. Because what that is that those are the tears of the enemy. Well, Yahusha's gonna reign, but when he reigns, that little last time, that little last go round, when they get back and they're establishing themselves, I want to continue to try to create some sort of dissension and chaos. If we can't see that that's the groundwork that they're trying to have, because they know that they are losing. I don't care what type of made up peace deal to signal this or signal that, it's all fake. Here's the reality of what we just saw yesterday. I didn't even really keep up with it. I haven't really seen what Trump said because honestly, I don't care. I just look at the highlights. They got a Qatari air base that they're building in Idaho. It's probably already there. See, when they say that they've unveiled it, you want to know what that means? That means within the 24 hours, it's now operational because they have been building it for quite a while. Why is that? Does anybody know? Does anybody care to take a guess? A gander of why they have a Qatari air base in Idaho. Very secluded, I may add. Well, it is America being broke, but it's something a little bit more devious and sinister, in my opinion. This is my assessment. They did that because you're able to then fly out weapons direct to Qatar or other places using Qatari flags. that would then create more war. People said, why did they give up the hostages? Why would does that not make sense? When has this place ever been about peace? When has this place ever been about peace? It wasn't for peace. It was to continue and allow them to refit and rearmor under the guise of Qatar. Straight from the US. Because why? Because Qatar could buy weapons. And Qatar could funnel. You got to fund the war from both sides. They don't care about peace. On top of that, in my opinion, I believe that that's also a transition plan that in the event issues go on to where somebody has to flee the United States. See, y'all don't understand. They have their own flee plan. Government and exile planning. It'll be just a bit too convenient to go across the water and then get blown out of the sky. Especially with something that's so bold and conspicuous as a blue and white plane. You would get snuck out via another nation's military asset. Man, Zoomer Doomer, I'm glad you are on here. My thoughts exactly. I've been on Sheikh Zayed Road. That road literally has traffic light cameras every like 100 yards. It is ridiculous. Y'all want to talk about digital ID, digital state? That's UAE all day long. I know. I know. I know. Those tolls out there are ridiculous. You probably pays about $200 or $300 a month. Why would they do something like that? That's easy for Qatar. Okay, I'm gonna allow you to hit me. I'm gonna allow you to hit me, Iran. Just hit me right here. Look, because we got plans. We got plans. Calm down. You already know how prophecy is. You already know we got plans. Just calm down. Just chill. Just chill. Calm down. Chill. Just said it's right there. There we go. I was talking to another teacher yesterday. He was a history teacher, and he's working on his master's. And he's a brother. His dad is from France as a Cameroonian. And as we were talking, a lot of our people are up. A lot of our people have woken up. This is why I'm going to tell you, as I had said it, there's a threshold. There's a spiritual threshold. Don't think that these people don't spiritually understand things. We crossed the spiritual Rubicon. And now that spiritual Rubicon has been, well, we have to innocuously start to target black folks. That was already the target. That was already in place. I'm going to tell you, probably back in 2015, 16, 17, probably almost 10 years ago, as they understood Bible prophecy, understand they know their time frame, they know their time limit. The only people that don't know the time limits and the time frames is actually us. If you're a secret society, if you're a Mason, if you're all these high level folks that's going back to the Vatican and everything else, then you're gonna know things. You're gonna know how this thing plays out, because why? You're not gonna disclose any prophets or prophecies. You're gonna have that thing scrubbed. Why do you think they never opened up the vault in the Vatican? Remember all that? March of 2020, then cough, cough. And they gave us literally the cough, cough. Like that wasn't coincidental. Well, we were trying to. We won't be able to open it up for another 25 years, 50 years. We'll do it on the next Jubilee. And they have our books. Do you think that you're going to have access to it? Absolutely not. How messed up is that if they have access? Somebody stole your family Bible. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Our family Bible's a big one, the big one, leather bound with the nice thread and stitching that, was very, very big. It was at least like 20 by 14. Y'all know what I'm talking about. My grandmother had one. I believe my mom has it. To show our lineage, to show what was written down. This is for my children and children's children. They need to know this. They need to know that. They need to know what I'm saying. They need to know the understanding. They need to know, hey, take heed. And then you let somebody steal that? I can't let you know what the Most High's saying, because that affects me. I got to look at this. I got to study this. I got to reverse engineer it the best I can before I still fall in its trap. Because what the Most High said, I can't get away with things too long because of my nature. I'm going to fall right into the trap. That's what they've been seeing. That's what's been happening. They have our heirlooms, and our heirlooms is not just, oh, it's just, something that such and such had when they visited Bora Bora. No, our heirlooms was from our parents that were the prophets. But see, they didn't know that it's not about what's written down, it's about the bloodline, it's about the covenant that the Most High has with his people. So now they're mad that what they were trying to do for so long, well, we can't destroy their people, so let's bring in others to try to destroy and cause chaos and corruption. Because have you noticed that nobody cares about anything that they say? Have you noticed that? Nobody cares about anything that they say anymore. They tried to double down with the whole CK argument, and all that did was it just alienated us even more. Because they're going to their nature. They can't stop their nature. Oh, you don't want to have a dialogue with us. You're just calling it black fatigue. They're going to their nature. Oh, you don't want to sit down and have us be in control of you all anymore, and you're calling for justice and reparations and all of these things for actual real equality. Well, I think it's time for you all to go. They have shown their true colors. Yes, Charles, they showed their true stripes. They showed who they were. And have you noticed? We've been distancing ourselves. Have you noticed we're no longer their victuals? They think that we're animals because our people for so long have been moving like a bunch of animals. Masters, we sick. Masters, we's tired. And the saddest thing is you see it. You see it. You understand it. And because you see it and you understand it, and now you can talk about it, and now we're talking about it, guess what? The Negroes broke containment. Get the shredders, get the burn bags, clean out the offices. We have less than 10 years to shut it down because if the Negroes broke containment, then that triggers the Army of the North. Uh-oh, here comes Isaiah 13. Uh-oh, here comes Jeremiah 15:51. Uh-oh, here comes Obadiah. They are triggered. Do you not think that they haven't understood anything that we have said? Yes, they have. Remember, they were trying to come for all of us, oh, we're this, we're that, we're this. And it's like, okay, well, then read the word. Decide. Let the Most High be the Most High. And you saw that they haven't been able to say anything. I thought that we're this. I thought that we're that. I thought that we're a crazy group of rambling Negroes that you just let us ramble on and on and on. No self-respecting Negro will ever listen or ever give us the time of day. See, you're wrong. Because you want to know why? Because as a people, we're always and have always been peculiar. We always search out a matter. You want to know why we search out a matter? Because we always want to treat. We always want to prove somebody wrong. That is our people. We want to prove someone wrong, and we will stop at no height, no depths. To say, nah, they're wrong. That's where they messed up. We don't operate on their frequency. We don't operate with the dog whistles. We don't do that. Just do as I say so. Why? That's always our response. Why? Why not? I told you. I was a good officer in the military. But boy, oh boy, oh boy. I was that Negro. Why? Don't question me. Don't question what the orders are. Look, I'm just asking because you could go here, 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 and here. You could do this, this, and this. You have this, this, or this. Then I'd always get chewed out, and then I get the you're dismissed. And then a few hours later, then they change it because they saw exactly what I was saying. My story is not an uncommon story. Why do you think they want to get rid of us? Because why? Because we would blow so many holes through their type of frameworks and conventions and everything else that, well, I'm just getting black fatigue. I'm getting sick and tired of being sick and tired that you all always see through all of our angles. That's what they hate. You're seeing through everything. Yeah, we do. We question. And now, what they've done more, why do you think they had to shut the government down? They're not trying to pay us anymore. They're not trying to have us in their militaries. They're not trying to have us in their jobs. They're trying to kick us out of the payroll. Because why? Because that's how authoritarian dictatorship works. And who is consequently the folks that's going to obviously challenge the dictatorship? Because it's not the challenge to the man himself up there sitting in the White House. The challenge is to other Caucasians that have to sit there and try to figure on out why their paradigm has been destroyed. Have you noticed that? Have you seen that? Have you understood that white people are now losing their minds? Gee, isn't that convenient? CK Observance Day. Right before when? They lose their first paycheck. They're not going to get back paid. I told you the government ran out of money. This is now a life-preserving operation of about, to me, you only have about 24 to 36 months. They're showing you it. Due to the instability, due to this, due to that. Why? because now they're going to try to have people, civil unrest. Now you have insurrectionists. Purple Revolution, everyone. Insurrectionists, we're going to take by the government. Any means possible. Yeah, they're going to get their people, not us. We're just going to sit there, sit back, and be like, all right, let's see this collapse happening full time. Get your popcorns ready, kids. Now keep your eyes open. Daquan, keep your eyes open. You're going to see all this. You're going to tell your children and your children's children. Talking about firing government workers. Who's already fired government workers? They're already getting pink slips, or excuse me, pink emails. We're going to take our government back. This place is already collapsing. I told you all, this place is collapsed. You want to know why this place is collapsed? The projects that I'm trying to work on and do with folks that I'm working with in the background, guess what? We would have started on a lot of some major projects about a month or so ago. About a month ago, we would have started on some major projects. You want to know what's happening? Liquidity crisis. It's a real thing. This government's running out of money, and they don't want to shuffle money. That's why I always say, family, thank you for your support. Family, we appreciate the support. Because why? Because even folks with the means, and we do have them, they see what's happening. And they can't even cobble together what they thought was all of these decimal places, post decimal places, or figures. That's really a lie. If you're poor, you don't have access to funds. If you're rich, you don't have access to your large amount of funds. So looks like everybody's on the same playing field. Kind of funny, isn't it? I'm supposed to have access to dollars. Sorry. Due to SEC regulations, due to Treasury regulations, sell, and then you get your money, and then your money is not even able to go to places. They're stuck. I was talking to these folks back in about June timeframe. We need to get this thing going today, right now. But you want to know what the rich were doing? They believed in their wealth. They believed in the image of the beast, man. They were believing in their bank accounts. And now they can't even get access to their bank accounts. And I laugh because it's like, well, I told you. And there's the point, Cammy, you're not supposed to. Oh, they'll let you do little transactions here and there. Anything below 5 figures. They'll let you do those transactions. 6, 7 figures? Nope. You're able to do just enough, right, to keep your lights on, to keep your mortgage paid. Anything else? Try to move some major money. Nope. It's hilarious how things have changed in less than a year. And it's really not funny. It's actually very sad. While we have our brothers and sisters on the continent waiting for us to move so we can all work, so we can all access resources, so then we can all be empowered. Do you see how that goes? The rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS, resource management, resource allocation. Wow, everything that I wrote about, I now have that opportunity. We all now have this opportunity. But we don't want to support one another. We all get scared because you want to know why? Because that was a design. Well, you could do it like this. You can do it like that. You do. Look, I'm sorry, I wrote the book. Read the book. Because that's how you become empowered. I'm not here to brag on myself. I'm here to say, look, this is what the Most High has showed me. And then the Most High, not only did he show it to me, but then he allowed me to see. And now, guess what? Now we're talking to government officials in multiple countries. Brother Asaph, thank you. Brother Asaph, thank you. It is true. It's not to toot my own horn. It really isn't. But all I can say is that is what and how I'm dealing with in the background. It's a frustration. It absolutely is. It is a frustration. There are so many villages that we have worked in or worked with that I've visited with. I get phone calls all the time. Can we, are we ready? Are we ready? Are our brothers and sisters on the in the diaspora, are people in Africa, are people in America, are people in the UK? All of a sudden, everybody now wants to work together. Now nobody has any type of money. Nobody has access to no type of dollars. Isn't that hilarious? That was the design. That was the play. Well, if we just take away the resources, they'll never be able to do what? To work within each other. Because why? Because all they can do is just get tripped up on the almighty dollar. And the saddest thing is that there are so many there's so many other ways and avenues to leverage things outside of the USD. They don't know about leveraging because I'm going to tell you they don't know how to trust anybody. Hey, why don't we do this model and let's do this setup here and let's do this setup there. Let's do a sharing program. So why? So you see what I'm doing and we're all coming together. And then guess what? Once we get this leveraged, Then we can move forward and move forward and move forward. Because you want to know why? This is what white folks did. Okay, I'll trust you enough. What you make, I make. What I make, you make. When I make back what I need to make back, guess what? Then our relationship's done, or we'll continue in this relationship. That's how that works. But they don't know those models and they don't know those systems because why? Because they've been trained to not trust anyone. Look, let's go on in here. Let's work together. Let's do this thing just for a day and let's take a look. I get frustrated, but here's the thing I don't let y'all see it because why? It doesn't do anything to this community, it doesn't do anything good to this community. Oh, I didn't see the coup in Madagascar. Here's the thing I wouldn't be surprised. Was it a coup for the West or a coup for the East? Because Madagascar was starting to was starting to lean ever so slightly African centric. They got to get their footholds on their islands. But yeah, family, that's why I asked, look, you got to keep everybody in prayer. All of us. I told you, we're in a different time right now. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. The Sahel effect is in effect. They said Ibrahim Traore is lullabying all of our coons and sambos. They're gonna have a New Jack City too. Ouagadougou fire. Living just enough for Burkina Faso. We're living in a new Sahel city. Living. Oh. Oh my goodness. And here we are. Please pray for your Koba. Please pray for Tayu. For Sister Shauna, for Pastor Rick Fletcher, for Sister Gates Holder. For all of our people in our communities, whether you see them or not seeing them, for Brother Fast Nickel and 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 Q2 family, the support is now. This time is now. I'm telling you all what I'm going through as much as I can say. That's why I say, look, it's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. Do you think the enemy wants us to not just survive, but to thrive? Thank you, Lion Pride, for the gift. Hallelujah. We're made different. This is a different season. Because once the door opens for us, you realize this. Once that door opens for us, then everybody's going to flood. They only have just a little bit of time to where they can't hold us back anymore. And that's not by my design, that's by Yah's design. But guess what? Yah has allowed us to see and deal with our enemies. That's how the Most High works. The youth in Madagascar said they like to move and move it. Exactly. I used to watch that movie with my kids. That's pretty hilarious. So, family, that's all I have. We're truly in a season of being blessed. We are. That's why I asked, please sign up for a Q2A so you can understand the opportunities of what is happening and how we plan to move and support our brothers and sisters on the continent. We can only do that through volunteering. Sorry, we got a vet. I hope yesterday showed you, last night's episode show you, excuse me, why there is a vetting process, why we have to do what we have to do. So, family, again, the container is on its way. I'm doing some more diplomatic embassy or neo-diplomatic embassy engagements. We're gonna go from there. But with that said, family, most high willing, I'll be back on. Please be careful on out there, especially in this time. This time of crazy, this time of them not getting paid, and that all trickles down. That will all start to trickle down because even contractors will start feeling this. This is going to start looking real stupid. Yeah. Unfortunately, October 1st, Trump canceled Christmas. That's okay. I don't even celebrate Christmas anyway. So you know what? That's not part of the feast day. It's not part of the holy day. So it don't matter to me. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.